what did they think about the Raja? What were their opinions about the Raja? That would certainly give us a fair idea of the kind of influence and the kind of personality that the Raja himself had. So we begin with three personalities, and these are the three personalities that we will, at this juncture at least, talk about with regard to their opinions, their thoughts on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. First of all, let me talk about Swami Vivekananda. What did Swami Vivekananda think of Raja Ram Mohan? Please remember that Swami Vivekananda, who in his pre-monastic life was known as Narendranath Datta, was a regular member of the Brahmo Samaj, and he was particularly attracted to Maharishi Debendranath Tagore, who happened to be the Raja's favorite disciple in a sense, and who had taken ahead the legacy of Raja Mohan Roy through the Adi Brahmo Samaj. Swami Vivekananda used to frequent Adi Brahmo Samaj as well as the other factions of the Brahmo Samaj. By the late 1860s, the Brahmo Samaj had split into three different factions, namely Adi Brahmo Samaj, the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj, and the Bharatvarshya Brahmo Samaj. So Vivekananda also regularly met with the representatives and the leaders of Sadharan as well as Bharatvarshya Brahmo Samaj, but he was particularly fond of Maharishi Debendranath Tagore for understandable reasons. The Maharishi had a very pleasing personality. He was deeply knowledgeable, but most of all, what attracted Vivekananda about the Maharishi's personality was his deeply spiritual tenor, the deeply spiritual tenor of his character. He was a highly spiritually inspired personality, a bhakta. The same reasons had attracted, the same personal traits had attracted Narendranath, that is Swami Vivekananda, to his future guru, namely Sri Ramakrishna. The same thing happened in the case of Maharishi Debendranath. And Maharishi Debendranath also was quite fond of Swami Vivekananda. As a matter of fact, Swami Vivekananda, before becoming a monk, had been to Maharishi Debendranath to ask a very simple but profound question in a very straightforward manner. Few people could ask such a question in such straightforward manners to a person of Maharishi Debendranath's stature. And that question was, have you seen God? Have you experienced God firsthand? To this question, the Maharishi did not give a direct answer, and Narendranath or Swami Vivekananda was disappointed at that. But Maharishi Debendranath, on that very occasion, had made a very profound remark, important one. He said, commenting upon the physiognomy of Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda, that, my dear boy, you have the eyes of a yogi. That's what he had said. So that's just a background for you to understand the cultural milieu from which Swami Vivekananda or Narendranath Datta had emerged. Firstly, he belonged to the cultural milieu, the enlightened coterie of the Brahmo Samaj, and especially of the Adi Brahmo Samaj. And he had friends who frequented the Brahmo Samaj along with him, such as Brahmabandha Upadhyay, a very famous name among the nationalists and religious personalities, religious leaders of late 19th and early 20th century. So such a personality as Narendranath Datta or Swami Vivekananda, with this sort of acquaintance with the Brahmo Samaj and this sort of cultural background or backdrop in which he had grown up, had a fair idea or acquaintance with the literature of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the literature that Raja Ram Mohan Roy had produced. And because he had access to people like Mahorshi Debendranath, who had seen Raja Ram Mohan Roy in person, who had interacted with Raja Ram Mohan Roy in person when he was alive, it was very possible that Swami Vivekananda would come to know a great deal about the Raja himself from such personalities who had interacted in person with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So such was the background of Swami Vivekananda, and this is what he has to say about the Raja. He says, and I quote, "The great Hindu reformer," I would draw your attention specifically to this qualifier, this adjective, Hindu, that Swami Vivekananda uses in describing Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And I continue to quote from Swami Vivekananda, "The great Hindu reformer, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, was a wonderful example of this unselfish work. He devoted his whole life to helping India," unquote. So the unselfish work that Swami Vivekananda refers to here is, of course, the idea of nishkama karma from the concept of karma yoga of the Bhagavad Gita. As a matter of fact, this particular remark by Swami Vivekananda on the Raja appears in a lecture that he had offered to his Western disciples when he was in the West. Now let us look at the opinion of another protagonist of the Indian Renaissance, and that is the poet Rabindranath Tagore. What was the link between Rabindranath Tagore and Raja Ram Mohan Roy? An obvious one. Rabindranath Tagore was the youngest son of Mahorshi Debendranath Tagore, the leader of the Adi Brahmo Samaj, and somebody who had inherited Raja Ram Mohan Roy's legacy directly from his father. And as a matter of fact, you might be interested to know this particular factoid, that Rabindranath Tagore had played the role of the secretary and also for a brief period of the treasurer at the Adi Brahmo Samaj when he was quite young, when he was in his early 20s, in fact. So being a member of the Adi Brahmo Samaj, being the youngest son of Mahorshi Debendranath Tagore, and a member of the Jorashako Tagore family at Calcutta, which was actually founded by Prince Dwarkanath Tagore, a close friend and patron of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, it is very natural that Rabindranath Tagore would know a great deal about the Raja, and that he would have a fair share of idea about the Raja's role in the history of the period that preceded him, as well as his father. So this is what the poet Rabindranath Tagore has to say about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and I quote, "He," that is Raja Ram Mohan Roy, "was the father of Indian Renaissance and the prophet of Indian nationalism." This is quite a remarkable opinion because we have several ideas and perspectives about the origin of Indian nationalism or the re-emergence of the Indian nationalism of a political kind, of a political avatar, and in an organized political form in the 19th century. And some people happen to have credited Raja Ram Mohan Roy as the father of Indian nationalism in the 19th century. And Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, happens to be one of those few people. So moving on from Tagore, now we will look at another extremely important personality with regard to modern Indian history and with regard to the history of modern Hinduism. And that would be Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo, who was known as Aurobindo Ghosh in his earlier life, happened to be the grandson of somebody called Rishi Rajnarayan Bosu. Rishi Rajnarayan Bosu's daughter happened to be Sri Aurobindo's mother. And Rishi Rajnarayan Bose, once again, was a close associate of Maharishi Debendranath Tagore, and Rishi Rajnarayan Bose's father, in turn, known as Nanda Kishore Ghosh, happened to be an acquaintance of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So you can understand that the familial links between Sri Aurobindo's family and Maharishi Debendranath's family, as well as the links between Sri Aurobindo, Rishi Rajnarayan Bosu, Aurobindo's grandfather, and through Rishi Rajnarayan's father, the link between them with Raja Ram Mohan would be quite strong. The acquaintance would be quite high. And such a personality as Sri Aurobindo, who has written voraciously on all matters related to Hinduism and modern Indian history, as a matter of fact, also about ancient Indian history, especially with its aesthetics, architecture, and the arts. This was the opinion of Sri Aurobindo about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So I quote from Sri Aurobindo: Ram Mohan Rai was a great man in the first rank of active genius who set flowing a stream of tendencies which have transformed our national life, unquote. So this is the set of opinions that some of the best known and the foremost protagonists of the Indian Renaissance had about Raja Ram Mohan Roy.